I'm Kevin, Coffee Kevin and publisher of CoffeeCompanion.com. The Technivorm is the brainchild of Gerrit Smit, Dutch inventor and manufacturer. The idea was to use high-quality components and build a long-lasting automatic drip coffee maker that met all the brewing parameters of the Specialty Coffee Association of Europe. The Technivorm was a slow starter in the U.S. where a few years ago there were a number of domestic, decent automatic drip machines. The original design was homely in a Volvo kind of way. It met its specs but seemed out of place in a 1990 stainless steel kitchen. Meanwhile, coffee makers got cheaper, complete with wimpy heating elements. The Technivorm got a design makeover a couple of years ago. Now it looks good, and it has a loyal following in the coffee industry. Almost every cupping room in America has a Technivorm there nearby for their coffee break. If this review seems anticlimactic, it's because the Technivorm quite simply does its job and it does it well. Temperature? The Technivorm is ruler flat in meeting the 200-degree Fahrenheit brewing temperature standard of both the Specialty Coffee Association of Europe and the SCAA, that's the US equivalent. Time? The Technivorm's superheating element is able to move a full pot's worth of hot water through the grounds within 6 minutes. That's just about perfect for both European and American palates. There's just a leading edge of a bitter note in a Technivorm cup. As I've said before, bitterness is a very legitimate taste component in coffee, and the Technivorm keeps it as a slight note, which is what most people agree is right. Note, Europeans grind their coffee just a notch finer, which results in a notch more bitterness. Ground saturation? Here the Technivorm is good, but not great, not matching what you can do with a kettle and a manual pour-over. The early spigot simply dripped in the center, sometimes missing grounds around the top edge of the brew basket. The shower head got a redesign a few years back. It's better, but still not the best in this regard. You see here what some Technivorm users do to compensate. Also, with super fresh coffee, you might want to run the machine for a minute and shut it off, just long enough to get all the grounds to swell up and settle back down before turning it back on and letting it finish the brew cycle. But I don't want to overstate this. You can own a Technivorm and get good results without doing anything but measuring properly. What I'm saying is, with a little fiddling, you can match almost any manual drip maker. I recommend 60 grams of medium grind coffee for a full pot. That's 6 of these. Your ground should look like this after brewing if you grind it right. If you brew a half batch, this clever setting slows the flow rate through the filter, prolonging the brew cycle up to around 6 minutes, so it will match the flavor of a full batch. There are really 2 basic Technivorm styles, one which brews into a heated carafe and one which uses a thermos. I prefer the heated carafe as it's easier to clean and features this ingenious design that forces later and lighter extracted brew into the bottom. This mixes the coffee so that everyone gets the same quality cup. There are confusing controls, at least to me, on the side that offer you a choice of how long to keep the heater on under the carafe. I've never figured them out. I never keep coffee more than 30 minutes after brewing. All the parts are dishwasher safe. My first Technivorm is 20 years old and still chugging away. The Technivorm gets a solid recommendation from the Coffee Companion, our highest yet for an automatic drip machine.